have to say it, don't I? And just like that, another season of the Booker Prize comes to an end. Hello! Tonight, after months of discussion and debate about the long list and now the short list of 6 books, one of these is going to be announced as the winner, and I'm so excited to see which of these books is going to take home the trophy. Well, which of the authors is going to take home the trophy? I don't think the actual books will take home the trophy. But I feel so lucky. I have been invited to the ceremony this evening, so I want to take you along with me and show you all of the fun of the party, some behind-the-scenes stuff, the ceremony itself, and my instant reaction to the winning book, whichever it may be. So I have my official invitation. I am all suited up, and I have placed a wager. Yes, I have put down money on what I think is going to win this evening, and it has been a really fun discussion. As always, it's not so much about the winner for me. It is about all of the discussion with other readers and about the opportunity to really get in depth into these books, to really discuss them in detail, to look at them from a whole range of different perspectives and think about them a number of different ways. And I'm not going to spend too much time talking about these books. I've already discussed them quite a lot. I have separate videos on all these books. I had a really great discussion with Bob the Booker all about the shortlist and what books we think are likely to win this evening. And honestly, I keep going back and forth about what I want to win. I mean, really, I would be happy about any of these books winning, except maybe The Rest of Our Lives. I wasn't so, I mean, I thought it was absolutely fine. If I was reading this outside of a prize context, I would have enjoyed it, I think, and thought, oh, that was an interesting book. But, yeah, it's not my favorite of this year, so I'll be a bit disappointed if Ben Markovits wins. But any of the other 5 books, yeah, I think it's a really close race between them. The 2 that I keep going back and forth between are Flashlight and Flesh. Yes, I got that right. And so, yeah, these are the 2 that I really can't decide which of these I think is going to win. So I have placed a bet on both of these wins, made a very small, minuscule wager on each of these winning, although the odds are much better, well, for Flesh winning, but it means if Flashlight wins, it means I'll get more of a return, but that is really just incidental. I'd be so happy to see either these 2 win or the other 3, or if the Rest of Our Lives win. I won't be completely crushed. I know there are lots of readers that absolutely love it, and yeah, and he is a lovely guy. I went to the shortlist readings last night that were hosted by author Sarah Collins. She did such a great job focusing on each of the individual books, but also seeing connections between them and going back and forth between the authors. It was a really lovely discussion, and I got all of my copies of the books signed, and I was so excited. Kiran Desai actually recognized me, and I was so flattered, and yeah, so that was incredibly kind and exciting that a former Booker Prize winner recognized me. So I'm gonna head off to the ceremony now. I'm gonna film what I can and show you all of the excitement. I am on my way to the party. It's a very soggy evening in London, and my train was cancelled, so I just had to get a bus. You can see the venue across the river over there where the celebration is taking place. But first, I am going to a bar to meet a couple of friends, and then we're gonna head on to the party. Booker Prize 2025! Woo! Every year, the Booker Prize makes up special editions of each of the shortlisted novels, and they only make one copy of these special hand-sewn editions, and so they are displayed here behind me.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, it's fantastic to see you all here. Thank you so much for coming. Later on this evening, this room will become the setting for a live broadcast on BBC Radio 4's Front Row, presented by Samira Ahmed. But before we bring in a proper presenter, I'd like to tell you a few things about the reasons why we're gathered here tonight. And actually, before I do that, I have a genuinely useful announcement to make, which is that in the event of a fire, the people at the back will have the best seats in the house, because that is where the exits are. Here at the front are the 6 shortlistees. And I will come to you in a moment, because this is, after all, your night. As much as it is a night to celebrate the long-listed authors, some of whom are here as well. Thank you for coming. But as you know, none of us would be here this evening at all if it weren't for the work of this year's incredible group of judges. Ayobami Adebayo, Sarah Jessica Parker, Chris Power, and Kylie Reid, who have been led with warmth and wit by their wonderful chair, Roddy Doyle. The first Children's Booker Prize winner will be announced in February 2027 by the inaugural chair of the judges, Frank Cottrell-Boyce. This news became public 2 weeks ago, and I actually cannot quite put into words how moving it was to witness the response. People immediately understood the point of rewarding children's literature and adult literature on an equal basis. They understood the point of having children on the judging panel, because if children are going to enjoy reading, they must choose the books themselves. They grasped the importance of rewarding illustrators and translators in order to find the next Little Prince or Moomins or Pippi Longstocking. And perhaps most of all, everyone understood why we would be giving at least 30,000 books for free to children who couldn't otherwise afford them. Author of Flashlight. Kiran Desai, author of The Loneliness of Sonia and Szalay. Kitamura, author of Audition. Markovits, author of The Rest of Our Lives. This is where you get to see our tour band. Andrew Miller, author of The Land in Winter. And David Szalay, author of Flesh. In just over 2 hours, one of you will embark on an altered life. I'll give the rest of you a clue. Last year, Orbital became the fastest selling Booker winner since records began. It was at the top of the mass market fiction chart for 8 consecutive weeks, and translation rights were sold in 45 territories. Its author, Samantha Harvey, who will come on stage in just a moment, says that she sometimes catches sight of Orbital on her desk and thinks, how can one small object be so life-changing? So no pressure, all of you.
I'm having intense flashbacks. I also recognise that thing. I've got one of those in my bathroom. Okay. For some reason, when I was thinking about what to say tonight, I remembered something that happened to me a couple of years ago. I was river swimming, and I saw in the distance a swan kind of swimming in my direction, so I turned and began to swim back to the bank. And when I looked again, it was considerably closer, and it was swimming towards me with a speed and purpose. It was quite terrifying. So I swam faster. But I am a puny human, and it was a mighty swan. And when I turned around again, it was right here, rearing out of the water with its wings spread. And then followed a minute or so of it whopping me around the head with its wings. Now, I'm not saying that winning the Booker Prize is like being attacked by a swan. I'm not saying that. Maybe I am saying that. There's something of an ambush about it, and specifically an ambush by something almost mythically, formidably splendid, so that even as you're reeling from the shock of it, you're thinking, this is quite cool. I mean, there's something powerfully poetic about this. I think I could use this. And I think if I had to conjure an image of that moment last year of winning, as if in a dream, it would be me standing here with this swan rearing up behind me. Earlier this year, I was speaking to a previous Booker winner at a festival, and we were kind of comparing notes, of course. And he described his experience of winning as magnificent trauma. And I thought, yeah, because you know the reach and the heft of this prize, and suddenly here it is. It's come for you with its huge wingspan, and it's pushed you under the water, and it's taken the air from your lungs. And when you surface again, you find that you've changed as a person. You've become one of those bastards who says things like, it's not the events that tire me, but the signing cues. I have said that. I'm not proud. It is magnificent, though, this ambush. It is. When I was young, teenager, early 20s, writers were my gods, and this prize was my pantheon. To have received it and to be standing here, well, it's just such outrageous good fortune. And there's also the outrageously good agent that I've had, and the outrageously good publishing team, and outrageously good life partner. They're not all weirdly the same entity. This prize has brought me more than I can possibly say in the time I have here, but most of all, it's brought me readers, and the understanding of how readers gather increasingly, I think, around books in groups and communities, as if gathering around little fires and finding shared experience and consolation and pleasure and warmth. This prize makes books into little movements. So, Andrew, Ben, David, Katie, Kiran, Susan, you probably aren't listening. I don't think I was listening to anything that was happening even at this point in the evening. I was vortexing into deep anguish even before the starters came out. But thank you for this dazzling shortlist. I really think it's one of the best in years. And I will be really honored to hand this trophy to any one of you. And may I say that I carried this around, not this exact one, but I carried the trophy around in my backpack for several days in London last year. And it is an excellent mechanism of self-defense. I've never felt safer. To those of you who don't win, well, look forward to a year of wonderful free writing. And to whoever does win, well, you don't need my advice, so I'll keep it brief. Buckle up and get a good accountant. Thank you.
And also he needs you.
He said that what he was going to tell me would sound...
Hello everyone, I hope you've been enjoying your dinner. This is a live edition of Front Row, which is going to be broadcast on BBC Radio 4 very shortly, and it'll be available on BBC Sounds for the Booker Prize 2025. We'll be announcing the winner of this most prestigious award for fiction, who will receive a trophy and £50,000. All 6 shortlisted authors are here, and we'll be hearing from each of them, along with special guest Penelope Lively. She won the Booker in 1987 for Moon Tiger, and will be talking this evening about the transformative power of literature for children. The shortlisted novels this year take us from the deep freeze British winter of 1962 to India in the 1990s, on an American road trip and a young Hungarian's adventures in London in the new millennium. They show us the traumas of the Korean people over the past century and 2 alternative versions of one family's life in New York. But first, I'm delighted to be joined by 2 of the judges for the prize this year, actor and producer Sarah Jessica Parker and novelist Kiley Reid. Welcome to you both. Sarah Jessica, everyone knows that you are a busy woman, and the workload of the Booker judges is notoriously huge. How have you found the experience?
Not huge enough. I would happily carry on. It's been the privilege of a lifetime. It's been, yes, an enormous amount of reading, but it's the place I most want to be, and in the hands of these extraordinary writers, it's been ever more so the case.
Fantastic. Kiley Reid, you were longlisted yourself for the Booker Prize in 2020 for your first novel, Such a Fun Age. I wonder what you've learned from being a judge this time.
On the other side, there's so much of what we're all bringing to the books that we've read before and where we're at in our lives. And, you know, for myself, I just became a parent, and a lot of these books are about parenthood. It's kind of nice to remember that the reader is a part of the journey with your novel, and it's been, the privilege of a lifetime.
I was wondering, Sarah Jessica, you know, when you're filming, do you do a lot of reading in your trailer? When do you do your reading?
Every time they say cut. I genuinely, strategically always find a place that it either fits under a corset, a petticoat, a skirt, and at action I can pull it out, sometimes suspended 60 feet in the air. You can take a book apart, which I'm loath to do, but if that means that I have a book when they call cut, I will do it and put it back together later.
Oh, like carry chunks of it?
I carried pieces of it, yeah.
Okay. Kiley, you've said that you like to make books compete against one another. I wonder how you did that. That was presumably how you approached judging.
Yes, I think that reading 2 books in 2 days is less daunting than 1 a day, which is kind of the ask. So I would read 1 hour of one book and 1 hour of another book and make them fight a little bit. And that worked out for me, yeah.
Excellent. And can I ask, I know it's tough to be asked it, but tell us a bit about the judging process, maybe Sarah Jessica first, because often one gets a sense that it's a very tough decision and that it can be tensions and stresses backstage.
I think it's certainly challenging to have books that you feel such admiration for, affection about. I think that's been the hardest part initially, was getting those 150 plus books to 13. But part of this process now is celebrating all of the books. I would say I'm in such good company, and we've found a way to get to tonight. And it's been hard in a lot of ways, but it's been such an honor. And frankly, there's kind of this nobility to the task that has felt really, I don't know, we felt such pride about it. I a little feel like I'm a contestant on a show and there may be a wrong answer. It's very scary up here. I just want to say. How do you feel, Kiley?
we all quite get along, and I've never been in the book club before, and this has been the most wonderful experience in that way. I didn't anticipate when we all get together, I'm so nervous and giddy to see how they felt about the books, and it kind of takes you back to understanding why you dedicated your life to literature in the first place.
Fantastic. Kylie, Reid, Sarah Jessica Parker, thank you both for being judges. Thank you for sharing something very important. First, we're going to hear from someone whose writing has been a hugely distinctive part of British literature for many years, Penelope Lively. Her work spans both adult and children's fiction and has won many awards, including the 1987 Booker Prize for Moon Tiger and the Carnegie Medal for her children's book, one of my favourites, The Ghost of Thomas Kemp. Recently, the Booker have announced plans for a new children's Booker Prize, so I'm delighted to welcome Penelope Lively now to say a few words. Welcome.
It's great news that Booker is launching her Booker Prize for a children's book. So why? Why does children's literature matter? Well, let me jump in at once with Auden's pronouncement on this, W.H. Auden, the poet. He said, there are good books that are only for adults because their comprehension presupposes adult experiences, but there are no good books that are only for children. Exactly so. And I think that those of us who've written with equal application for adults and for children know, and we aren't many, is that a children's book is a particular endeavour. You're writing for a literary innocent. You're writing for someone without preconceptions of what a story should be or how it should behave. Right, so let go and take off. Shed your own assumptions about narrative. There is indeed a change of register in writing for children, which you don't write down to them. You write out of your own adult concerns and interests. You temper these, you tweak and adjust, Auden again. But adult experience takes a back seat here. You're back where you once were yourself, but endowed with the magical power of adult expression. Children who are read to, who read, do better at school. Actually, I don't care about them doing better at school, though others will. What I care about is the climate of the mind, the leap into suggestions of good and bad, of moral imperatives, of social possibilities, above all of other worlds. My 6-year-old great-grandson has reading tastes that swerve from Vlad the Drac, who was a small vampire written in the 1980s, to the Jumblies, who've been sailing the seas in their civs since 1871. Children's literature is not tethered to time. It floats free, whether written yesterday or 100 years ago. The writer of a children's book has license to abandon time and place, to create, to propose alternatives. It's an indulgence and a hazard. The writer must find a language, a universe that will persuade all, the literary innocent that is the child, the sophisticated adult reader. And that is what the great children's books have done and will continue to do, supported now by this new Booker Prize.
Penelope Lively, thank you so much. And the inaugural children. Now the moment has come to announce the winner of the Booker Prize 2025. The trophy will be presented by last year's winner, Samantha Harvey, and also joining me on stage is this year's chair of judges, writer and 1993 Booker Prize winner, Roddy Doyle, who will be announcing the winner. Welcome to both.
Hello, I've 2 minutes, but Sylvester Stallone only had 10 seconds to get up off the canvas in Rocky 2. So I should be grand. I want to thank the Booker Prize Foundation, in particular Gaby Wood, Hannah Davies and Joey Sanders. I want to thank all 153 authors whose novels we read as we got closer and closer to this night. I want to thank my fellow judges, Aobami, Chris, Kiley, and Sarah Jessica, who made the experience of reading and rereading and reading yet again and discussing the books as we homed in on our winner such a personal joy. I'm at a stage in my life where joy can't find its way up to my face. So you'll have to take my word for it. I'm full of joy. We read the shortlisted books 3 times. I've read my own books once. I love a good book, but I liked looking at the Grand Canyon. I was happy enough to walk away in the knowledge that I wouldn't be doing it again. In fact, that was probably the point. But we read the 6 books 3 times, and it was a hugely rewarding experience. Reading became closer to the experience of listening to music repeatedly, a great album, say. Words we hadn't noticed the first time, a phrase, a note, harmony, dissonance, silence, big and small things that we hadn't fully appreciated when we'd been charging through the books. The 6 books grew in our estimation with each reading. But as we discussed them, there was one book that we kept coming back to, one book in particular that made us all, and I watched this as it happened, sit up and smile. One book that we felt should win because of its utter singularity. The winner of the 2025 Booker Prize is Flesh.
Time to accept his trophy from Samantha Harvey, last year's winner, and a hug. David, can we make you say a few words for us? A few words, if you don't mind. I know she's taken the trophy off you, but you can have it back very shortly.
Wow. I think the first person I would like to thank is Alison, the wonderful publicist at Penguin Random House, because she made it very clear to me that I should prepare a few words a few days ago, and now I'm wondering what she knew at that time, or maybe she just says that to everybody. I'd also like to thank the judges, of course. I think I felt Flesh is quite a risky novel, a risky book. It felt risky to me writing it, and I remember Hannah Westland, my editor at Jonathan Cape in London, when we were talking about the title of the book, maybe a year ago, wondering aloud whether she could imagine a novel called Flesh winning the Booker Prize. Which speaks to something risky about the title, which we felt at the time, I think, and something risky about the book itself in some ways, or unusual, certainly. Anyway, Hannah, you have your answer, I guess. And I think it's very important, this sense of risk, which I keep coming back to, and which was there throughout the process of writing the book for me, and throughout various discussions when we were editing the book and deciding on the title and stuff. There was a sense of risks being taken, and I think it's very important that we did take those risks. I mean, obviously it's easy for me to say that now, but I felt that, I think, all along, because I think fiction can take risks. I think it's one of the things that it can do. It can take aesthetic risks, formal risks, perhaps even moral risks, which many other narrative forms can't quite do to the same extent. I think part of the reason for that is just that novels are so relatively cheap to produce. All you need to do is keep one writer supplied with coffee and a few other essentials for a year or two, and you've got a novel. I mean, it's almost free, which means these risks can be taken. And I think it's very important that the publisher, the novel making community, if I can put it like that, embraces that sense of risk rather than shuns it. One person who definitely doesn't need to be told to embrace risk is my agent Anna Weber, who I hope feels vindicated in her own risk aversion by a second consecutive Booker winner, which I hope that inspires in others the sort of strategic patience that Anna has always been willing to she has been so patient with her writers and has taken risks in the sense of taking on writers who aren't perhaps immediately, obviously, going to be winners tomorrow or next week, but who knows, maybe 10 years from now. I must also thank Bill Clegg, who I'm very happy is here, my US agent, and who has also been a wonderful supporter of this book from the very beginning, and my US editors, Kathy Belden and Anne Graham, who unfortunately aren't able to be here, and of course Hannah and the entire team at Penguin Random House in London. It's the sense I've had all along of them being fully behind the book has been wonderful to me. This wasn't necessarily a very easy book to write. I started on it just after abandoning another novel, and so there was a very great sense of pressure, as you might imagine, to make this book good, because I think while it might be okay to abandon one novel, to abandon two would be quite difficult for me to deal with psychologically. And I didn't always cope that well with the pressure. I didn't always cope that graciously and that wisely with it. And the only real witness to that was my wife, Oshaya, who is also here this evening. And I just want to thank her for sharing that experience with me. And I'm sure she is as bewildered as I am by the fact that those rather bleak times and this glittering evening are somehow part of the same process and the same experience, but it seems extraordinarily that they are. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done. Before you go anywhere, David, I just want to ask, David, you said that you started writing this after you abandoned another. Wasn't this a book that you abandoned after working on it for nearly 4 years and came back to?
Well, maybe 2 or 3. I didn't. You mean the novel that I abandoned before Flesh? I've been working on it for a couple of years, and it was a full 80 or 100,000 words. I mean, it was really a full novel-length piece of unsuccessful writing.
It's just lovely that it had such a successful ending, and I know that Roddy Doyle had a bit of advice he wanted to give.
Roddy.
As a previous winner, my strong advice to you is say no to everything. Get home as quickly as you can, lock the door.
I will do that.
And also, Samantha Harvey and I have had another suggestion, which is you guys should set up a Booker Prize winners WhatsApp group, so there are 3 of you to start it absolutely right now. Our congratulations again to David Szalay for winning the Booker Prize 2025.
So Flesh is the winner. Very, very exciting. And I am here with superstar bookstagrammers Bernie and Chris, and the fantastic baker and fellow Maine resident Maddie, who made these fantastic biscuits for all of the long-listed authors, and yeah, incredible. So, what do we think of the winner? You happy?
I think it's great. Like I said, it's like a really skilled book, and I think it deserves it. It feels like a Booker winner.
Yeah.
So pleased. This was my pick and prediction, and I'm so glad, and I think it's very well deserved.
Yay.
The level of restraint I think the judges talk about is deserving of the prize in itself. And I'm happy for those who haven't read it to experience it now.
And Eric?
And well, I mean, I would say for all of the Flesh haters out there, and I know some people really did not like this book, I would say maybe give it another chance. And there we have it, another season of the Booker Prize. And just like that, comes to an end. What a fantastic evening. I feel so very lucky to have gone to this great celebration of literature, and that's what it really was. And I had such a fun time. I got to meet a number of different authors like Benjamin Wood, whose Sea Scraper I absolutely loved, and who I assured him that his novel is the people's favorite. And I also got to meet Claire Adam, who wrote such a beautiful and moving novel, Love Forms, which I had a great discussion with my online book club. And I got to meet Sarah Jessica Parker, who recognized me, who said that she watches my videos, which is so incredible and surprising. And yeah, we had a lovely long chat about books, and that was really fantastic and special. And I'm still reeling. I can't really believe that it happened. But Flash was such a fantastic winner. I'm so happy for David Szalay. And I'd love to hear if you have read this book, if you are keen on reading this book now, or if you might want to give it a reread if you weren't so sure about it the first time, or if there are any other books that you are really hoping to win this year's prize. And hey, I won £15, so that's a bit of a result. But thanks for following me throughout this Booker Prize season. I've really enjoyed all the discussions we've had about all the books and hearing everyone's different points of view. But I hope you have a good evening, and I'm gonna go get the bus now. Bye-bye.